still waiting for Roy to join.
Yep.
Let's see.
We got 7 people in with
Yep.
us, so
We'll start here at 3. As soon as Roy gets in.
in the meantime, enjoy the beautiful rolling credits.
Rolling credits. I like it.
Yes.
Oh God. Everything hurts. Fucking
Everything hurts? I feel ya.
We busted out that concrete stoop. Jesus Christ. That was awful. Just awful fucking work.
Mm-hmm. Oop. Bidding?
So it's a wild Roy has appeared.
Yep, I'm here.
We be live.
All right.
So hello, everybody. Welcome to August Q&A. I'm assuming we can start a little early now that Roy's here.
Yeah, we'll give another minute. I want to...
Un minuto. Good. I can eat some more ice cream then while we're waiting. It's so good.
What is it? What flavor is it? Mocha burning fudge?
It's Halo Top Pops. It's a strawberry swirl.
We're doing pretty good. Yeah, except other than I'm sore as shit, and Roy. He's pissed off. His desk isn't there yet.
That's fair. Let me see. You're sore as shit because you were working on a house. I'm sore as shit because I fell off my exercise equipment. So that's always good.
Owie!
Yeah. Got a bruise about, oh God, I don't even know how many inches in diameter on my upper left or right hip / thigh. It feels so fucking great.
These are just streams, RJK. They're not necessarily tied to a specific game. I mean, there is usually a game preceding it, but doesn't necessarily mean it's for that game. But people still oftentimes have questions on last call, so I force Inky to be here.
Mm-hmm. Kenter, essentially my exercise bike seat went backwards because it wasn't tied tight enough, and I fell off backwards off of it and landed on the concrete floor. Felt freaking amazing. Ouch is right.
Okay, so yeah, we can go ahead and we can get started.
All right.
Did I miss a memo? No, you did not, Inkwell.
I scrolled back and it looks like we covered everything from July.
I don't think we missed anything because because that was when Lone was reading and you were here, and so we would have any Instagram questions would have gotten answered.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, first question is actually from me to Roy, because I've seen it asked and mentioned a few times. Any future plans for animation?
I mean, I know we've been over this a while. Yeah, Daz's animation system is just horrible. Supposedly they've made some improvements, but I'm still trying to find some decent tutorials on that still make it somewhat possible. And the issue is that, I can spend hours or more on an animation and then have issues that then cause me to have to throw it out and redo it. So at this point, I don't have any plans. I know some folks say it's immersive. I think I've talked about it before. I find it the exact opposite, since you have just, even the best games have just a few animations. Maybe you might have 30, 35, but that'll be out of a total of, say, 800 to 1,000 renders. So you're still mostly in the static area. So at this point, it's not an area I've wanted to invest a massive amount of time in. I occasionally check some tutorials, try out some things here and there. If I get a breakthrough, definitely. But right now, I'm a little bit more focused that it's better for us to deliver these releases a little bit more quickly versus me spending weeks on some animations that may or may not please everybody.
That is it's so time consuming, like you said.
I know some people love them. I'm neither here nor there on them. I'm probably a bit of an outlier in that I don't mean this directly, but I really play a game for a story. And if the art is good, all the more power to it. But animations are always just kind of sprinkles, so I've got enough going. Like, animations are not going to make me or stop me from playing a game. So that's kind of where I look at them too, and I'm never going to ask Roy to do them. If he doesn't want to do them, we're just not going to do them. yeah, they look neat, especially when they're done well. I mean, there's a couple out there that are decent at it, but I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze on that one. At least for us, I should say.
Mhm. All right. Next question is Panda Drummer. I would like to know the process hidden between producing two games at the same time.
So that one, I'm not sure.
I guess I'm not 100% for sure what's so hidden
No,
about
I know
it.
what Panda's getting at. There's stuff
Okay.
that allows us to make the second game. I'm gonna Sparks Notes this, and then I'm gonna let Roy explain more if he wants to, because I don't know how much we do necessarily want to discuss that. Not that we're like keeping secrets, but there are some things where it's. I'm just gonna go. So we were virtually doing two games to a degree, even we were only doing one, because we had a custom comic tier that was full with two people. So we were already making two comics, which were anywhere between 25 and 35 renders, depending. Generally, right around 30. So Roy's got to make 30 images. I have to throw it together in code, which doesn't take a long time, but when you start to really break it down, that on top of the lewd set that we were doing, when it really came down to it, production time wasn't affected when we dropped those three things and went just to making a second game. So it's not as hidden as you might think. But if Roy wants to elaborate, he can.
Yeah, so the comics were, just to make sure we're clear, 30 per comic, right?
Okay.
So you got 60. Ludes were starting towards the end there to top out about 60 to 70. So that's what, close to 150 renders, right? And the issue with those, especially with the comics, became that I do an environment for like just a comic, and I might do 2 or 3 environments for just a comic. And if you've done anything in Daz, environments are one of your more time-consuming things, which is fine because usually you're going to reuse those. But it became an issue where the comics would take maybe a kind of a different storyline, which is fine. That's what we offered. But then that would mean that they're never going to get used in the game. They're never going to get used in any side projects, most likely. So I'll have spent hours doing those, and there just wasn't much there. So doing a second game allows us to use these environments, and over and over, in that sense. And then second is just we looked at the schedule and everything. I won't elaborate any more than just saying Inkwell's got a very busy job, busier than mine even. And anybody who knows what I do knows that my job, especially certain weeks, can keep me really, really busy. But we looked at it and said, well, folks aren't really, they like the Ludes, but it's not really doing much for us. And we could, at the times, or I remember you and I discussed, we're like, oh, we'll put another 100 renders or so in, and we can do a second game. Of course, the irony in that is that the most recent last call was almost 400 renders. Dot 3 will probably be.
You mean To Be a King?
Yeah, To Be a Keen, yes, thank you. To Be a Keen was 400 with Dot 2, and Dot 3 will be well over that. So these things do grow. But at the time, we thought we'd be able to keep these releases a little bit smaller and go from there. Yeah, I mean, it's just also just doing a little bit of work every day in most cases. And so, 400, 500 renders sounds like an insane amount, but, you can do a handful a day, then you can start knocking stuff out really well, and it doesn't take as long as people would think.
Mm-hmm.
The optimization helped a lot too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then obviously it helped that right around, I think just after we finished To Be a Keen .1, I found out, I guess it was in the middle of last call .3, found out how to do some optimizations that have cut my load time significantly for scenes, as well as character loading and that sort of thing in Daz, just drastically. I mean, orders of magnitude have cut that, which was a big time-consuming thing that I just sat around and waited.
Mm-hmm. And then Inkwell also elaborated a little more. Roy and I write at about the same time, but we're kind of on different schedules. We'll complete scripts at different points, and then Roy gets to the art. And since we've been on different quote-unquote cycles, it's really just alternating timing. It takes me a bit more time to get through LC scripts, as they are a little longer, which gives Roy some time to work on T-back between completed scripts. Also, when we say Inkwell has a demanding job, we're saying like 70 hours a week sometimes. Very highly demanding job.
Yeah, I mean, literally, there is no time some days for Inkwell to do any script work, even if he was so inclined, and also get actual sleep. And then the other thing too is, anytime you got a demanding job, anybody should know this, but sometimes you have time, but your brain's not going to function for you to do the creative tasks that you need to do for this sort of thing. So that also plays a role.
Mhm. Okay. Next question is from Xeris. Are there any plans to add lewd scene galleries to LC and T-Back?
Zora, you're up.
Hold on. I need to check. I need to check one thing here. So yeah, I want to double check because whatever reason, Roy's question after this is tied to the same thing. Short answer, yes. We're beta testing right now a scene lewd or a lewd scene gallery and a photo gallery that's just going to have fun images. A lot of people who have gotten customs have okayed it with us to put their customs in the photo gallery. We're going to release that either today or tomorrow. I'm just finishing up the code. What ultimately, we haven't decided exactly how it's going to go out, but for lack of a better word, then this thing does exist and it is coming out somewhere, somehow, somewhy to some people. But yeah, I've actually been Bison's been pestering me about that since .2 of last call, and part of me wishes I would have done it right away when we started making the game, but I just kind of wanted to take it easy and learn stuff as I go. But there were some hurdles that would have been a lot easier to avoid had I just built this originally. But it's what I did. It's what happened, and I had to deal with it. But it's they are, as far as we can tell, there's no issues. We may have a couple of you may end up with some load save issues, but also the scene galleries because we're still learning as a dev team. Something we finally caught on was marking variables for lewd scenes anyway. But because I don't really track those lewd scenes specifically at the time, you unfortunately will have to make a new save to have those scenes unlock. But I mean, if you just control through, you'll get them anyway. It won't take too much time.
It's really quick. As somebody who through testing just controls through to check certain areas, yeah, it'll you're talking just a few minutes if you control right through, and then you can go back and view them in the scene gallery.
Okay. Next question is from Mr. IT Roy himself. I heard rumblings of new adventures in coding, Zor. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, no, that's what that was. Those two tied
It was
together.
that? Okay.
Yeah.
Bueno, never mind then. Steel.
Steel, you goofball.
Hold on. I'm assuming it's, does Kelly Jo really help Zor coding? I think.
She's my drinking buddy when I code, yeah.
And then does Annie command more custom renders of her to help Roy?
She does seem to have the overwhelming majority. But again, I think that the thing with the customs is, those obviously folks get to choose characters and who are in there, and it just so far has been people who prefer Annie over anybody else. So she's gotten the overwhelming amount of customs, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right. Question from Xeris. Was KJ a senior software developer before she quit to raise a family?
There's an Inkwell question.
We'll let Inkwell respond there for a second. Inkwell says, not a developer, no, but I wouldn't cross her all the same. That's fair.
She will hurt you with code somehow.
Pretty sure she could verbally smack you down with words as well.
Or just smack you down.
That too. Steel, it was probably asked, but will Bobby become a main LI or will stay a support character?
That was RJK, not Steel.
No, Steel asked the question.
Oh.
Yeah, you're skipping ahead, Zor.
Yeah, but just fuck it, whatever.
Yeah.
That's an Inkwell question.
RJK said he's gonna cry if she wasn't.
Yeah, of course, Inkwell. You dickhead. So yeah, that one's not gonna be.
Should I make this answer painful? Sure.
God, he can be such a dick. Why do we work with him?
Bit of a masochist, maybe. We'll definitely be seeing a lot more of Bobby physically, emotionally, etc.
Ecumenically.
And that is where we are going
Grammatically.
to vaguely leave that. And I'm currently caught up on questions at the moment. The rest was a lot of back and forth.
Well, if anybody has some pressing ones, now's the time.
Ask away.
Trying to think if we can discuss anything while people are thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we've kind of doing these monthly now. This is, I can't remember which one this is, but
It's like 7, I think.
I was going to say I think we've touched on most of the things, especially since from release to release, there's not a lot we're gonna get into story wise.
That's
Zor,
not
Wolfie
fair,
wants to
Wolfie.
know
That is
beer or
not
whiskey.
fair at all. Oh, I drink beer daily.
But if you had a preference, if somebody is going to offer you a beer or a whiskey, what are you going to take?
It is still too many variables. If it's hot as shit outside, I'm taking the beer. If I'm like sitting inside, or it's I definitely probably gravitate more towards whiskeys, bourbons, and scotches in the winters actually, and more beer during the warmer months. But I like them both. That is definitely a. I don't know if push came to shove, I'm not sure I could actually pick. And I'll take that back. It probably would be beer because it's cheaper. But I'm a huge peat Scotch guy. Lagavulins, Lafroig. I like Balvenie for not peat stuff, even though they have one called Peat Week, but I was very disappointed in it. There's another one. Highland Park is really good and reasonably priced. I don't much care for blended Scotch whiskeys. I prefer single malts. But beer, I like a good beer. I'll drink a dark. I like IPAs. I'm a big fan of Summit's EPA. But my easy drinkers, I've been Budweiser, I think, as everybody knows.
Mm-hmm. Well, here, since we're on the topic of beer, Steele does have a question that relates to it. Which are the most favorite beers, fave beers at the bar? Bison's?
Oh, in-game shit.
I haven't looked at the menu, so I
can't remember what the menu says.
Well, I mean, I would think that given all the signage for Bison's, it's kind of like the Budweiser in game. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll grab the question over here from Twitch from Gasu Warhawk. Favorite games, AVN ones, of course.
Shit. Top of my list is probably Treasure of Nadia. I get itchy to play that every time it comes out. I really it's silly, nonsensical, and it's just fun. I like City Broken Dreamers. Let's see. Other one like that. Perverteer's new game really got my attention. It's space themed, almost Star Trekian with a little bit of cross of Star Wars in it. A lot of fun. It's a drastic change from his last game, but it's very interesting. I honestly have to pull up my list. Roy, you don't play as many anymore, do you?
I have played 2 in the last 6 months that aren't hours. So I'm just going to leave it at that and not anger anybody because I happen to leave theirs out or something like that. But yeah, I've played 2 VNs in the last 6 months.
Sorry. I can't believe I actually forgot this. Droid Productions, Love of Magic, and Leap of Faith are 2 that I'm following very heavily right now too. And
is Love of Magic the one you told me I need to read?
I think you'd really like it. And Long Live the Princess. I have several that I actively follow and support. And generally they're ones that, like, I don't support a lot of devs at low levels. I support a few devs at high levels, as bass backwards as that might sound. But there's a couple that I play that are just silly. I mean, like the Professor, definitely breaks the definition of nonsensical, but has its own cuteness to it. What a Legend is another one that just came out not that long ago. I believe they're working on their .3. That's I don't use this as to like describe it, but it's Summertime Saga-esque in its art style. It's not identical by any stretch, but it is similar. Um, and I generally don't care much for 2D, but this one's story is just freaking fun. That's what pulls me in. I think I've said before. Story. Good, attractive girls help, but if the story's bad, I'm out. I don't care how hot the girls are.
Inkwell said, I'm going to plead the fifth on favorite AVN. Got a shout out to Philly Games and the art and COBD.
Oh my god, how did I forget Mott's?
And Mott's for his
I'm a
humor
terrible
and
fan. Mott's too. We talked, actually, Roy and I talked to Mott's a lot, and he has shouted out to us so many times. I think a lot of our patrons, I shouldn't say a lot, but we have gotten subs just because of him alone. I haven't played that one yet, Wolfie, but I've come inside. I haven't played that yet. People keep telling me I need to. I keep forgetting about it. Both Bert and Bison have been on me to play it.
Okay, Inkwell wants to put Roy on the spot. How do you find your story developing writing a large-scale story like this?
I mean, it obviously requires some planning. I've seen enough VNs to see the issue that a lot of them run into, where they'll start out with a whole lot of progress, and then they're just going to not really be sure where to take the story. And I'll leave it at that and not mention any specifics. But back when I was playing regularly, I know that was a big thing that could happen. And so what I've done is I've just mapped out an outline of each episode with like key events and scenes and things that are going to run through. I know how I want to end it. And I've, kind of thought that through quite a bit. There's always little changes that go on. I mean, the outline I had a month ago is not the same outline I have today, but it's not drastically different in the way things are going to go. It's just a matter of, this thing gets moved to this. Oh, wait, this scene sounded great, but now I need some kind of filler around it to make sure it makes some sense, or that means that this other scene needs to come right after it. And so just kind of moving order around and occasionally inserting a scene. I guess I shouldn't say so much occasionally, since I probably added like 12 scenes to the next 2 releases of To Be a Keen in the last few weeks, but some small, some large. But yeah, it's a different experience, but I think the thing is just continually making sure you're still on the right track to tell the story you want to tell. And obviously, too, that outline really helps, especially when I'm trying to sit down and figure stuff out. Not that it doesn't get tweaked, but at least it's kind of some guideposts for me.
All right. Barry wants to know, coffee or tea? I'm coffee. All the way. 100%. Tea's gross. Silence from you two. I'm assuming that's a no on both.
I'll drink coffee, but it's not something I use to jumpstart my day. It's I drank it a little bit more when I had an office to go to, but since COVID, I don't drink it at work.
Inkwell says tea.
Yeah, Inkwell, he got on to. I think we were talking one day because he and I had a conversation along those lines, and I think it was his wife got him onto tea. I could be wrong. I can't remember. Usually, when I'm hanging out, when we're like doing online stuff, I'm usually drinking. So half the stuff he tells me, I forget, and then I get in trouble later.
Since I'm not British, I'm not a fan of tea. And so coffee, although I've recently had to switch to decaf.
Wolfie, it's me, Marg, talking. And then Steele wants to know, will we have a hockey event at the bar?
That could be interesting, given all the hockey hullabaloo now.
That's an Inkwell question. Yep, more events for sure, he says.
Yep.
So, see what he deems to be good there.
Mm-hmm. To sell more beer. Yes, Steele. Exactly. If we do a hockey event, would we consider fictional teams or actual teams?
Can we get in trouble for actual teams?
Yes, you'd have. We'd have to do fictional. That's why the beers are all created for something custom, because I mean, the chances of it, we're not massive here. We're not on most people's radar, but somebody could sue us and tell us to take it out and sue for damages. So we're not gonna go down that path. It'll always be fictional stuff there.
Oh, he said, "Damn, thought I could force Roy to have one girl wear the Canadians jersey."
Wouldn't necessarily tell who's my favorite. Maybe I'd put it on my least favorite. So
Wolfie says I sound like Rebecca Ford from Warframe. I feel bad that I don't know who that is because my husband plays that game religiously. Inkwell, I guess in terms of events, hasn't decided what kind of events exactly beyond the next one, although have drawn out ideas from here before. Here, meaning Discord. Since we've got a couple people typing in Discord, question from Kenter. What do you as a writer what do you do as a writer when you ask the artist for a render and he returns an entire subplot of them?
I'm guessing that's something he has to deal with Stoya. Can I have one, please? Here's 17.
Yes. Yep.
yeah, I'll let Inkwell answer because our process is a little different on that.
Oh, now we're arguing about sports in the Q&A between wearing different jerseys and then football and then soccer now.
So yeah, and for the records, you don't have to ask just questions about the game too. Like, I mean, that beer or whiskey was a great question.
Mhm.
Can be stuff along those lines.
So, Kenter, to answer your question, Inkwell says, I really just give Roy kind of a stage directions about emotions, placements of characters in the scene. I let him be the quote-unquote director as for the many images as he wants for each interpretation of the dialogue, angles, etc.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say that, usually, except for like the lewd scenes and stuff, Inkwell gives pretty good directions. So I don't read Inkwell's mind, but I would, most of the time, I think, if Inkwell's thinking like one image or something, that's pretty clear from the notes he puts there. So I make sure to go ahead and follow that as much as I can.
I think you do a pretty good job translating.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only issue, and usually we work on it before the script's even done, is like maybe I can't really do that particular thing you want for whether there's not a prop for it, and the environment's not going to quite work the way I think you had envisioned it or something. But usually that's stuff that works out well before I start rendering.
Inkwell says, I then play through the alphas. I may tweak placement and dialogues after that, but Roy has been fabulous about translating emotions of the scene. Also, we constantly communicate about assets, etc. You are very good with your facial expressions. If nobody's told you that yet, which I know we've probably said quite a few times.
Yeah, it's a learning process, and you're trying to get it. One of the things that you do, just like you do in drama, is you need to exaggerate the expressions a bit, right? So because otherwise it may not be entirely clear. But early on had a tendency to over exaggerate a bit, and so now it's a little bit easier to do it subtly. Plus, I've just got some good kind of base expressions now that I can tweak, and the fun part too is some expressions just do not work on some characters very well, and so you begin to learn that as you go through and be like, yeah, I can't use this set on Morgan, but for Annie it works fine.
RJK said Roy's facial expressions are certainly improving by the update. Very big provider of that feedback to Roy in DMs. Oh, you sliding in those DMs, huh, RJK?
Heyo.
Always. Yeah, that is something I've actually seen a couple times comment-wise in my Instagram post too, by the way. People saying about your facial expressions being really good.
It helps too, just again, to learn the characters. And I mean, that's another thing, that just as much time as you spend, I mean, you kind of figure out, I mean, Morgan's most likely going to have more of a sarcastic looking expression just because of how she is. And Annie's going to be more of that kind of happy, perky type thing. And you see that in To Be a Keen as well with the different characters. So
definitely. Barry, do you guys have like a plan for the future? Or do you look at it one project at a time? So like, do we have, I'm assuming, like any future plans, like project wise? I'm guessing that's more the question.
Inkwell?
Is typing.
Yeah, Inkwell's typing, and I'll just say, I mean, we have ideas, but
Okay, I wasn't sure what we could say.
yeah, I was going to say, and I'll see if Inkwell wants to elaborate. I'm not going to go elaborate more yet. But what I will say is that, a lot of these things can kind of change. I mean, what we were talking a second game, we had everything fleshed out for something totally different than To Be a Keen for a bit there, and ended up changing. So, yeah, we'll see. Let's see. We have ideas. I will not read this, Mark. That's your job. I'm sorry.
I don't care. Well, we have ideas, a list of ideas, some various genres and expansions, but it will likely depend on the success of the current games and what we have time for in the future. RJK, since I haven't played the 0.2 yet of T-Back, for shame, sir, but will we see more of that older sister?
For Alinea. So you're going to see more of a lot of people. But Dot 2, she gets a few more scenes. Dot 3, which is already written, she gets a bit more, and trying to bring certain people in to the universe here as we have time. One of the things that's kind of expanded these things is I kind of want to be able to bring in, most everybody that needs to be on the different releases, unless it just there's a reason they don't need to be in that particular update.
Gathu over on Twitch asked, so do you guys have a big twist to make all the fans like the X in Last Call?
Inkwell, you're up. Although knowing Inkwell, I don't think he's going to get into too much.
Nope. I will say, while Inkwell is typing, we do actually have a few fans of Miss Fiona in our Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And she actually, I think she might have gotten, nope. She still has the most popular post on our Instagram account.
Oh, well.
Miss Annie is close behind her, though, now.
I think Annie organizes her followers or something to vote on her Instagram posts. I'm just convinced that's what happens.
Inkwell says twist for Fee. I would say I will do what I normally do, treat her like a human and reveal motivations and personality. If you can't find empathy for her by the time I'm done, that's up to you, and whoop, stuff moved. And totally fine, no judgments here. So vague answer.
Yep.
Like I've said before, oh wait, no I haven't, not on live stream. Never mind.
What you all don't know, because you can't see it in your respective homes, but Inkwell has a electrical device hooked up to Zora's chair, so he can zap Zora from his own home if Zora starts to reveal too much. So that's what just happened there.
Yep.
I'm sober as a judge too, so it's not like it's an alcoholic slip. I'm just a moron.
And the only other thing, I think I've said it before, but I think I put it in the last dev update, but Dot 3 of To Be a Keen is well on its way. Renders need to start here soon, but script is basically done. I've just got to find the brain power and time to finish proofing it before Inkwell gets to take a look, and that's just been a matter of my last couple of weeks at work have been insanely packed, so still nothing like an Inkwell schedule, but it's been busy.
Yeah, blame it on the ibuprofen, Zor. Sure.
I just shouldn't drink as much as I usually do. I'll be honest, I'm not going to lie. I almost went and got some bourbon, but then I spent too much time working on the code and realized, oh God, it's 2:45. I got to get this thing running and make sure we don't have any bugs.
Yeah, I was in the middle of watching Legend of Korra on Netflix, so I saw the time and was like, oh, crap. I need to get set up and logged in. It sounds like RJK says we should have some background music for our little video playing. if I'm gathering that question correctly over in Twitch.
No, he might be. Yeah, it's accidentally playing because I'm bug testing.
Oh.
The problem with music, and I thought about doing it a while back, and then when I helped Philly do his stream, there were some issues with having the music loud enough to be heard, but not too loud so you could hear Philly.
It's really tough.
Yeah, so it's just not something I wanted to monkey with. I mean, we're more interested in what you guys want to ask us, and we just don't want anything lost in translation or hidden behind something. We want to make sure that we love doing this with you guys, so we don't want to screw you over in any way, shape, or form. You have questions, we have answers. We want it to be clear and audible.
Yes, to all the Legend of Korra. This is my first time watching through it, so I'm excited, but also holding back because I've heard it's not nearly as good as Last Airbender was.
I just realized, so RJK said background music needs to be in game. That's actually the main menu music, RJK. If I understood your sentence correctly, I apologize if I didn't.
Well, look, 2 more down. He said the one that's currently playing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, see, he what he wanted is actually like in a scene in the game. No, that was kind of an accidental find. Don't worry about it, dude. Mine's trash too. It was kind of an accidental find, and what's funny is that's not. I had to tweak that song a bit, like the tempo didn't change, but the intro before the guitar really kicks down is actually twice as long, and so I was able to throw it into Adobe Audition and cut it, dumb luck, perfectly where I wanted it, and so you can't tell that there's a skip. I mean, there isn't one. It flows correctly in between. So I was happy. It only took about 20 minutes of fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
It's good, Wolfie. The problem with Airbender for me was, and I hope you're not talking about the movie.
No, we're talking about the cartoon.
Right. The problem with it though was, like, they had some weird stall during production. So I swear to God, I saw the assault on Bossing say 90 times. And I just was like, all right, I'm just done with this fucking show. And then I kind of gave up on Nickelodeon as a whole because they killed Danny Phantom. And it's just like, God damn it.
I think I've watched through Airbender at least 4 times from start to finish. I love it. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. Cartoon-wise, I should say. Gravity Falls is like right underneath that.
I'm a dumb.
You're a dumb? Why are you a dumb?
Oh, I just bug fixing stuff, and I shouldn't have made this mistake is all. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So we're caught up on questions at the moment, unless anybody has anything else.
Yeah, feel free to ask, guys. I mean, we don't have to keep going. If you guys are sick of us, if you got questions, feel free to ask. Like I said, it doesn't have to be about the game, or it can be about either game. It could be, what do we think of this? Though, let's not go political or religious.
Because Zora will just go on.
Zora and I do that enough when we're face to face.
No, I will not talk politics in an open forum like this.
Nope.
I just won't, or religion for that matter. It's
too many hot buttons.
I have no problem respecting the person's opinion, but I don't want to bring in that scenario where someone could get upset or feel attacked. I don't want to see that. Looks like we have something from RJK. Thank you, sir.
Yep. So, I remember when you started doing T-Back that you said that the updates will overlap each other. 1 month LC, 2nd month T-Back. What happens if Ink can't make the script after 2 months? And since Roy seemingly have done 0.3 for T-Back and 0.4 currently in the works, will we see a shakeup in release schedule?
So, I mean, what we decided to do was like the Avengers. We wanted to do 3 and 4 of T-Back together to try and mimic the MCU. Come on, that was funny. You guys suck.
Be aware, Zora, I haven't watched a superhero movie since I was a child, so I have no idea.
But that's really a question for you, though.
Yeah, so I can't remember. Maybe we did specifically say that. I know we mentioned.
I know we classified it as like filler almost, Roy.
Yeah, so I know we said last call is the priority, but with Inkwell's schedule and everything, I think. I think we kind of have the thing here, and I'll just go ahead and say it. I mean, we're not full time in this. It would, I think I can speak for most everybody on the team that that's not something we would say no to, but we're nowhere near where we could explain to our families that, hey, we're quitting our jobs, right? So, so we're not there yet. So Inkwell and I kind of just work on our schedules and get done what we can. And I had some time after .2 for To Be a Keen that I was able to get in some good creative time and hammer out the .3 script. I'm actually into .4 writing that. And at this point, we're just planning to release these things as they're ready. I think is kind of the schedule at this point. And last calls or not typically, are longer than To Be a Keen, even with To Be a Keen trying to approach those levels of size. You can only make these things so small if you really want to tell a good amount of story and give people an hour or so of gameplay per update. But so there's no definite on-off thing. If I'm in the middle of renders for To Be a Keen, we discuss it. If last call script's ready about that time, do we go ahead and pause that and start last call? How do we handle that? But that's on a decision basis. And at this point, Inkwell and I seem to have had schedules that kind of align pretty well. So both are in active development, and just whenever one's ready to be beta tested and then released, that's where we're at.
Yeah, and I think with To Be a King garnering a little bit more attention than we initially thought, and taking on more of a life than we originally thought. We initially said, if we're working on TBAC in any way, shape, or form, be it writing, coding, or art, once last call's ready, we completely switch gears. I think Roy just hit it there anyway, saying
Yep.
now it's kind of, if we're not far into development for TBAC, we might halt it. But if he's 75% of the way done with the renders and it takes me a day and a half to code, there's no point in not pursuing that, because it's another, what would you say, 25% of this would be a week and a half, 10, 11 days maybe of images, maybe a little more. I'm throwing a number out, guys. Don't quote me on that. But in that interim time, Inkwell, he can take a little break and then he can just start writing the next update. So it doesn't really cost us anything to not migrate.
And then RJK mentioned he may have misunderstood, and I think that I can speak for myself on the development team that we kind of expected best case To Be a Keen to take a lot longer to get anybody interested, and that we kind of had the idea that it may end up not having people interested. Instead, we've had a few people say that they just prefer it because they prefer the setting, which is fine, and we seem to have gotten our current fans and stuff engaged as well. So it feels, it's not that we're by any means there on equal footing. Last Call is still the primary project, but it feels a little different than it did when we started, just because of that.
Well, and that too, it is kind of still technically a side project. It's Roy's side project while he's waiting to be able to make up the renders for Last Call. So it technically is still a side project, but definitely has gained a lot more popularity than I think we thought. Oh, Barry Zor, what was your favorite school subject?
No.
Inkwell says whatever your wife teaches.
Yeah. Ironically, it might kind of be tangential to that. The one that always sticks out in my head that I put probably the most effort into in high school was a novel reading class. Literally, all you did was read, and you had 2 books required, one per quarter, that you had to read for part of the class, and you would actually have class discussions and tests and quizzes on it. And then we did watch 2 movies as well. But I really, really, really enjoyed the class. Like, I read a lot to get a bunch of points, and I think I walked out of that class like 130% A. Another class that I really enjoyed was a couple of electronics classes I took and one SolidWorks class I got to take. But I definitely think, I guess I would have to say that novel reading class was probably my favorite in the long run, just at least between how I felt about it and the effort I put into it.
In has a question. A long time ago, you said there'd be something about me in Last Call. What about it?
So that was with, did we get in on a label, Roy?
I'd honestly have to go back and check.
Yeah, it was small stuff in, like, all the, the devs, the mods, and a couple other people who were kind of helping guide us earlier on got labels on alcohol in the game. I thought you were in. I just don't remember if you were on a menu, if you were a drink, or if you were something else. We'll have to check, but yeah, we'll have to add Barry in now, I suppose.
And we ran into an issue with that too, because a lot of the labels I had done then would have required probably a few more hours to actually work on DAS, so that's kind of why that stuff got shelved.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So, so fear not. No, I don't think anybody did. Bison survived, and a couple others that I was just able to slap on the beer tap when we changed bars, but that was about it.
Kenter has a question over on Twitch. Have you had any troubles with assets like hair fitting, clothing, etc.?
Yeah,
Short
I mean,
answer.
yeah. I mean, you always have trouble. There's always certain things. I don't mix generations typically. I've had to do a little bit of that with
Generationist.
DAS generations. So DAS has different model generations, and if you try to mix those, fun stuff can happen depending on the asset. But I don't do a whole lot of that. But yeah, I mean, you're always going to have issues with fit and obviously too body size and stuff. I mean, I'll be honest. DAS pretty much expects everybody to be. Well, I mean, Valentina is one example of a model who, and Cassia does pretty well too, of clothes who just kind of fit because that's what DAS expects out of the basics. And then you've got people like Morgan and Kaylin and a few other models that are different proportions, and DAS doesn't like that as much, so you have to do some tweaking. So there's always some issues here. I haven't had too much, except obviously just trying to avoid hair clipping and that sort of thing.
Okay. RJK, seeing as T-Backed earns so much attention, will there be touching up with dialogues and such from the first release? Some words feel out of place for the setting, such as a queen being corrected and says absolutely instead of of course, etc. Petty minor thing, but for immersion it would go a long way. Just a thought.
I don't think we have any intentions of that. I mean, Inkwell looks over and made some recommendations and stuff like that. I mean, I'm just be honest. I mean, I'm not going to have them talk completely in the time period they would have.
Think
first
that
of
hurt
all,
us more than help us.
yeah, and also, I mean, they're speaking English, which I think we've mentioned before. This is to be a king assumes an alternate universe where the Western Roman Empire continued, so they would be speaking Latin. So that wouldn't translate anyway. So I've had to use a few things, but we've taken out a bunch of modern stuff. In fact, sometimes I do find it harder because you'll have issues where you're like, I could do this with one word in modern day English, but because it's too modern and there's no way they would refer to anything like that, you just do it. So it's just a little bit of mixing. But at this point, no, I don't have any intentions of going back and doing that unless it turns out like, oh, I talked about them, call in somebody on their cell phone, then yeah, we'll go back and correct.
Mm-hmm. RJK also asked, will my C bottom make a return in the future? Inkwell responded, possibly with the C bottom. We'll have to see if the girl who wanted it comes back at all. And we are caught up again.
Could always return for an event.
Mm-hmm. And RJK might be sad if she doesn't come back.
Oh, so I have a question for the rest of the dev team, and Inkwell can answer this as well if he wants. Like, how mad is the rest of the dev team at me for making Ellie how I did?
I don't care.
Should I actually? Do we want to fucking explain that, or are you just being a smartass?
No, I think we can explain it if you want to go into detail. We don't have to. But.
If it's I'll just be the one to explain this one. Inkwell said, "I need a waitress." I don't know how much guidance was given there. Inkwell can feel free to chime in, but the short version on Ellie is, honest to God, guys, you're never gonna bang her. You're just not. She's a loyal woman who is sticking with her husband and her kids. So we give Roy a lot of crap now and again for making her too attractive. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we really shouldn't, because unattractive women are going to turn people away. So there actually, honest to God, is no winning unless we made her a fuckable character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like with movies and stuff like that. You're going to petition make Ellie uglier. So, yeah.
Inkwell says she's gorgeous, but I think the boob-tacular shirt was probably unnecessary. I wanted a middle-aged waitress, thinking y'all would be happy with the other options, but no.
Somebody put the quarter in him, Jesus. Snark meter just slammed to 11.
I'll just refer Inkwell to check the Daz store and see, other than like a burqa, if he's able to find anything.
Right.
Well, that's
Although I do like the t-shirt skirt combo she has in
Yep.
the last event we did. That
Mhm.
was a really cute outfit. I mean, plus, how else is she going to get tips?
Roy, do you want to talk about what you've been doing the last couple days or no? Like what you just finished up today? You don't have to. I'm just asking if you want to.
Environments. That's what I'm
Okay.
thinking.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay. Yeah. So, so what I've had to do is just create a bunch of new environments for for getting them confused for to be a keen .3 here, and these version numbers of just being slightly off for the two are going to end up making me screw something up.
Oh no.
So, but yeah, so I had to create their 12 new environments for .3. So that was quite a bit, but I went ahead and got that out of the way the last couple days, and so at least when I'm ready to sit down after we get script back from proofing it and doing renders, at least I shouldn't have any roadblocks. I think I've got to create a couple other new characters for it as well, but that should be it. They're minor, so it's nothing too big.
Sorry, RJK said
She
I
gonna
want.
hurt me.
Yeah, she is. You're gonna get punched. RJK put, I want a game where you play as Ellie's husband, the fantasy of having a teacher by day and a waitress by night, and it's too great. And then Zora just asked his wife, who is a teacher by day, if she wanted to go work at the Goose, which is a bar in their town. You don't want to play as Zora? Are you sure?
Jesus Christ. Inkwell's even not on my side.
Nope, you're screwed, man. Then you would really never leave the Goose, and you're already there a lot.
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
Inkwell, you are not wrong with the mixed drinks. Xena makes excellent mixed drinks.
There's Bison.
There it is. The Goose.
Well,
Any other questions,
yeah.
comments?
Throw them out.
We've got about 10 more minutes until we're at our hour.
And I know we have a hard stop because Zora's got to finally get some alcohol in him.
Yes. Yeah. No. I wanna poke at this code, get it working right, because I set up a system. I think I need to delete my persistence file, but I'm trying to set it up in such a way that if you already have everything unlocked, you can't go back because it's an unlock code, so you can't go back and do it. It'll just say you've already entered the code. Go away.
Gotcha.
But I need some kind of persistence variable, and I was doing it with just a flat-out variable, but I thought, well, if we add images to this, that could be a pain. Or not a pain, but another way I thought of doing it was it just constantly checks, all right, do you actually have this unlocked? And if it sees a locked file, it'll give you the option to put in a passcode. Well, all right.
2 buildings down it was.
Huh?
I say 2 buildings down it was last year.
That was 2 years ago. Fuck, that
Was it
sucked.
2 years ago now?
Yeah, because it was a year before. It's almost, I want to say it was 2018. It was December of 2018.
You might be right.
Because last November was when Wisty's finally opened back up.
Opened back up, yeah. RJK says, going out on a limb, can't wait for the day to be able to turn that pesky little princess for good.
Oh, turn away, I'm guessing he means. Yeah, turn down. Yeah.
Oh, turn Valentina down? Oh, come on, she's just enthusiastic.
Yeah, each one's written for their own little thing, and I realize, certain personalities won't appeal to everybody, but I try to give each one their own unique personality, motivations, all that.
RJK says too much. Yeah, she is a little in your face. She just knows what she wants.
What? Wait, what, Nem? Did somebody send a picture of the goose?
I don't know. I don't see anything.
Well,
maybe you looked it up.
There's a Twitch question.
Bert Bison and I will be there on Wednesday.
Exotic Titan, how many Budweisers is too many Budweisers, Zor? I don't think that's...
Depends on your definition of too many.
One.
Like how many before? How many before I have a hangover, or how many before I'm completely useless the next day?
Both?
About 15 is the point where it gets tough to do anything right away in the morning. Not that I haven't also done more.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up, Steel. Unless it's like a Mephistopheles. It is like 2 blocks from my house. We totally could.
Oh.
Well, if we are done with questions, we'll call it just a little early. No, I have not. Thank God. I have never crawled home.
No, you hold your liquor pretty well. You just get loud.
I get very loud. That's why I was apologizing to Roy the other day. Like, I didn't even think about it until the next morning. I think I went through half a case of Budweiser just to make
Ooh.
the pain go away from Friday. At about midnight, he's finally like, all right, I gotta go to bed. It's 1 o'clock. And I'm like, yeah, I should have been to bed like 2 hours ago. I gotta get up at 7. Fucking woke up at 7, fell back asleep till 8. Called my parents, sorry I'm late. Finally burned through the hangover about noon. Of course, I had to, while I'm burning through it, I'm jackhammering concrete. That was fun.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like so much fun.
Wait, what, Steel?
When you crawl, instead of crawling home, you asked Bobby
Oh.
to bring you back.
Bobby, aka my wife.
Yes.
She did come and drag Bison and myself home at like 1:45 one time. We were the only ones at the bar keeping the poor lady there. I felt so bad the next day. Shouldn't have done that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Ian.
Yeah, Kentra, I think a lot of us do that. I'm going to bed at 11. Nope, it's 3 a.m. Fuck.
Well, for me, that was the worst when I was big into gaming.
Mm-hmm.
New game would come out, you get it at midnight. Go, I'm just going to play for like a half hour to 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, today's going to suck.
There were many a times when we at the 6th Street house where I'd go to bed, you and the husband would still be up playing a game, and then I'd get up and you'd still be playing the game.
Yep.
It's like, did you go to sleep? No. Okay. Have fun.
Well, it's so. It was the release for
I'm thinking Resident Evil
5.
Was it 5? Is the
Yeah.
one I'm thinking of.
Yep. But I want to say, elaborating on Kenter's 3 a.m. fuck comment, I think it was dot. Which fucking was it? Was it Teabag.2, Roy? That I stayed up till 2 a.m. Or was it .2 of last call? I stayed up till 2 a.m. 2:30.
I thought it was .3 of last call, but maybe it was .2. Of
I did,
TB.
but I did it twice, and you told me not to do it anymore. That's what I was trying to remember what the first one was, because I did it for .3. Yeah, well, I definitely did it for .3, but then I hit that bug, and then I had to get on the call with Inkwell the next day to get it figured out.
I think that was .3.
Yeah, but I know I did it more than once, and I think .3 is the second time. Oh, that sucks, in. I'm sorry, man. But I'll tell you what, we're going to wind this down. I think people run out of questions and probably getting tired of listening to us babble like chimpanzees on meth. I mean, if there's any last questions, fire them off quick. But otherwise, we will catch you. Oh, wait, what? Kenter. So thank you everyone for joining us. As always, it's fun to have you guys. Remember, this channel is open all the time to post questions. Please keep it to questions, except during streams. Obviously, we don't mind that you talk during the stream. But otherwise, we'll catch you guys in about a month. And we'll see you then.
Toodaloo.
Have a good one.